comes out of World War II. Containment was the word, I believe, credited to George Kennan, who was the leading political science guru, how to deal with Russia. You were going to contain Russia. This was the language which, in my view, was pure ideological cover. And it was cover for the creation of a network of military bases, currently numbering somewhere between 700 and 800 military bases around the world that the United States maintains at enormous expense. It was said that this was necessary to contain Russia or to contain communism when that was seen as some sort of Russian maneuver, communism as the evil ideological master of whatever was being done by the Soviet Union as the home base of this expanding evil empire, to quote Ronald Reagan. And you had to contain this evil empire. This language was wonderful because it's language that says the United States establishes military bases for defensive reasons. In other words, the military bases are like NATO. They are a defensive institution. They are a defensive expenditure. Therefore, you don't have to ask or answer the question, to what extent is all of this the enforcement of the American empire? In my judgment, it is at least as much an empire enforcement mechanism as it ever was a defensive mechanism. The notion that the United States, after World War II, was in danger of a war perpetrated by Russia is ridiculous. I mean, and by the way, Mearsheimer would be the first to tell you that. Mearsheimer understands that Russia, in part, collapsed in 1989 because it tried to maintain an arms race with a country 10 to 20 times richer than itself. It couldn't do it. You cannot maintain military parity, let alone fight a war, a proxy war against the United States in Afghanistan, when the country you're fighting against has a GDP 10 times or 20 times yours. That's as hopeless as Ukraine defeating Russia. That's ridiculous. Even with the West's support, that isn't working out. But as a war, it's ridiculous because of the imbalance between the two. Yes, I've read the story of David and Goliath, and I understand under some weird circumstances, you could win if you're little against the big one. But that's not the normal outcome. The normal outcome is exactly what we're seeing. And the United States, however, had a wonderful defensive story to tell that allowed enormous sums of taxpayer money to be used to pay for an empire that the private sector wanted but didn't want to pay for. So how did the private capitalists get the secure markets for what they sell, get the secure origin of inputs they have to bring in, food, clothing, raw materials that have to come from outside the United States, many of them crucial? Can't build a jet engine, for example, here in the United States without all kinds of components that come outside because we don't have them here. This is not a minor matter. So the way all of this was worked out was by having a vast story told of